Senate Majority Whip John Thune is with us right now, Republican from South Dakota. Senator, this move right now for the Senate Intelligence Committee to subpoena Donald Trump Jr. to testify, what does that mean?
Well, I think what it means, Neil, is that the Senate Intelligence Committee is doing their diligence on this side. Their investigation has been very bipartisan. They're wrapping it up, and I suspect this is probably one of the last things that they'll do before they get ready to file their report. But you know, this thing has been looked at multiple ways. You now have the Mueller report. It's all out there. No collusion. That's the conclusion that they came to. And the Democrats in the House who seem insistent on continuing to drag this thing out, I think are missing what the American people care about. The American people think this issue is done. The Washington bubble and the folks who have Trump derangement syndrome here in Washington, D.C., and a lot of the Democrats, perhaps their left-wing audience around the country, are really the only people who are paying attention to this. Most, I think, Americans care about kitchen table issues, pocketbook issues, and they want to see this debate move forward onto some of those issues.
You know, Senator, this vote in the House Judiciary Committee, as John Settle and I were discussing, was along party lines. The majority voting in favor, all the Democrats, all the Republicans voting against holding the Attorney General in contempt. But I'm wondering now whether you agree with Jerry Nadler's sort of constitutional crisis comment. Was he overdoing it, or what do you think?
That's hyperbole on Jerry Nadler's part. I served with Jerry Nadler and a lot of those members in the House of Representatives. This is their, I guess, attempt to get a moment in the sun. But this is going to land with a loud thud. This isn't going anywhere. And this contempt charge that they're making, they may vote out on the House of Representatives on the floor. But, I mean, this issue, for all intents and purposes, in the eyes of the American people, after the Mueller report was issued, fully released by Attorney General Barr, who was following the law, doing exactly what he said he would do when he testified in his confirmation hearings, when he met with me personally, and that is release all this information. It's all out there. The public can digest it, and they're ready to move on.
Senator, to that point, the president was open for the entire report coming out, and most of it did in fact come out, and he was open to anyone and everyone testifying. Now there's the opposite. He's against subpoenaing President, former staff members, is against Bob Mueller testifying at all. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think if the president or his team thought that there was a legitimate quest for the truth here, or a sincere interest in, actually getting questions answered, it'd be one thing. But I think they see this as political theater, which it is. I mean, this is a total on the House of Representatives right now. You can just watch what's going on.
But if you've been subpoenaed, Senator, to have your people appear, and you in the White House, for whatever valid reasons you point out, say no, does that make a mountain out of what you argue is a political molehill?
Well, I don't know that. I just think that if you're he's obviously they're subpoenaing members of the administration, obviously, and so the president's claiming executive privilege, which is his, he has the right to do that, and the courts will decide all that. It'll probably take a number of years before they come to any conclusions about that. But it seems to me, at least, that what he is saying is essentially what the American people are saying, and that this is, for all intents and purposes, over.
So you said years. It would take years to resolve that. So not months, years.
I think these issues of executive privilege, when they start going to the courts and work their way through the process, take a long way to get resolved, Neil. But so, in my view, at least, what's happening over there right now is a political sideshow. It is political theater. And, again, the president, to his, credit, put everything out there. And the Mueller report is all out there for everybody to see. And I think now it's a question of what people can draw their own conclusions about that. And this is just an attempt to drag this on and play politics with it.
Senator Thune, thank you for taking the time. We do appreciate it, sir.